All right, today I'm joined by my buddy Sean here. Sean, let's have you step on the scanner. We're gonna scan Sean's feet and get him into some demo shoes for the day. Sean is a big Vans guy. He also likes the Tri-Base Rain 6. He also likes the older Metcons. But to humor me, he's gonna scan his feet. We're gonna get some metrics and then we're gonna get him into a pair of demo shoes and train. I'm gonna be training in the drop set control trainers and we'll see what Sean chooses. We have RDLs, reverse sled drags, some single leg landmine deadlifts, and then also some core stuff. All right, so looking at Sean's metrics here, he has a 3E foot width, which is extra wide. Size is at a 9.5. What size do you normally wear?
8.5.
I think you need to go up, truthfully, to at least a 9, in my lowly opinion. We'll size you today.
My Metcons are all 9s.
Your Metcons are 9s. Okay, that makes more sense. And you have on socks, so this will give you usually a half size bigger, just because it's replicating off the mold of the foot. But looking at your symmetry over here, you're actually pretty on point. Like most folks have more indiscrepancies here between the actual width and length differences, which is really cool, because that suggests why, you know, some shoes are like, okay, well, my left size is really weird compared to my right. It's because the asymmetry is just life, sports, injuries.
I never felt I know some people, they're like, oh, I always try on a shoe on one foot. I'm like, I just, whatever I want to grab out of the box.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed like two different shoes feeling differently, or has it always felt pretty similarly on both?
Always felt pretty similar.
Which makes sense, because your symmetry.
When my knee's acting up and bad, my left foot, it's more the arch of my foot will hurt, not the shoe size or length or anything. So.
Gotcha. All right, so Sean, again, we have some heavier RDLs today with some reverse sled drags. So think we're gonna need something with traction. We also have some lower body accessories, some landmine deadlifts. What shoe do you want to demo today?
I kind of want to demo the Tolos ones. I've been looking at it for long enough.
All right, so we're going Tolos Archetype 2.0. You wear a size 8.5 in your Vans. Yeah. I'm gonna bring you a 9 to humor me. Yeah. Just humor me a little bit, and we'll size you. All right, so brought you an 8.5 and 9. I want you to size them. So Sean is wearing 8.5 in Vans. I think a lot of folks size their shoes too small, so I'm curious if 8.5 or 9 is gonna be the win. And the reason I brought two different sizes here with the barefoot shoes is because since they're wider than your Vans, if the 9 you feel swimmy, because you likely will with the toe box, we'll just go 8.5. But let's see where you're at. Looking at a 3E foot width, because he has a really wide base of the forefoot with some toe taper here. I'm really curious to see what's gonna size better, the 8.5 or the 9er. So that right there is the 9.
It's been a while since I've had a booty style shoe.
I was gonna say. How much room do you have at the end of each toe box? Judge off your thumb. About a thumb width and then a half thumb or a 3/4 of a thumb?
Yeah, like 3/4 versus a full thumb.
Which feels more comfortable?
8.5.
8.5?
To be honest, yeah.
All right, we'll go 8.5 today. All right, today's flow, those 4 to 6 sets, build to 2 to 3 working, 10 reps at an RPE 7, so nothing too crazy. Not bad. The repetitor foam is definitely softer than the dual density, but I don't think you'll notice it that much. 245 felt fine. How are we feeling about the Tolos?
I really like how grounded they make you feel.
So you mentioned that they feel a little bit different than your Vivo Barefoot?
Yeah. A little bit more structure, which I don't think is a negative thing. Like, I don't remember exactly what Vivos I have, but like, they're definitely more of a mesh knit everywhere. And like, mid-workout, end of workout, like they start to feel a little soft, like laterally. Yeah. These feel like they won't do that.
A little more sock-like?
Yeah. So, I like it.
First sled drags in the Tolos. How's the grip?
Not bad for how slick the turf is. Like, I feel it a little bit if I try to drive hard into my heel. But if I stay, like, push into, like, my forefoot, it's fine.
We had 3x12s on single leg deadlifts. We used a kettlebell versus a landmine, sorry, to my coach Tyler. He wrote in the notes, he's like, you can use a dumbbell and kettlebell if you want to be a lazy bitch ass, and that is me right now. So something I'm trying to think about here is really driving through this planted leg. I'm using these more as like a rehab exercise than like an actual strength or hypertrophy movement necessarily. This is trying to get the tissue of that knee to feel comfortable getting loaded again. And in that concentric press. Working with the 85s here for the farmers. 40-meter carries. Then we have hanging oblique raises, 2 sets, times burn, aka go until you can't. All right, so again, this is my friend Sean. He's actually been in a couple of the videos, but came out to support. He trains at Dope Gym, downtown St. Louis. That's downtown, yeah, fringe downtown. But dude, I want to hear your thoughts on just the shoe store itself, the space, and I want to hear your pros, cons, experiences. Don't be afraid to share your real feedback, but also I want to know too, like some pain points that you could see running into with the store, because everybody's watched the channel thinks the store is a sick idea.
Yeah.
So now how do we get an emotion? Like how is the actual process of trying on the shoes? You got to try on the Tolos today for your session.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be going with them because they're not necessarily a need for you, but I want to hear your feedback on them.
It was nice to be able to like try out a shoe that I've been kind of interested in since seeing it. Like I can't try them on anywhere else, can't train in them anywhere. So like that aspect, super cool.
The store itself.
The store itself, beautiful setup. Like it is aesthetically a very beautiful store. Yeah, I like the separation of the barefoot, the trainers, the running that's coming. Like it has everything that you would want for training. The idea of being able to actually try on the shoe and go train in it is such a cool concept. Like it definitely, if I had a need for another pair of shoes, because I have so many shoes, yeah, I would buy those shoes because I got to actually train in them. Like, oh, I do genuinely like these.
Pain points that you could see coming with the store. Like getting the name out there, like the education element, because I've found that the education element is going to be the most difficult part, I think, is help people understand, like, hey, here's how the shoe store runs. Yes, you can physically work out in the shoes. What do you see as pain points for the store? And then also, how would you recommend as a consumer navigating those? So for example, like if I had to educate somebody coming in for the first time, or like reaching somebody who might not even know the store exists, like what would you suggest doing more of on the That Fit Friend side?
So, I mean, you and I talked in the workout, a little bit more marketing on the shoe side because I've seen more marketing for the gym lately, which is cool because it's also only 2 weeks, 1 week?
1 week.
It's only been open for a week, so that's already cool, but like a little more specific for the store itself. Education-wise, like people know the idea of a barefoot shoe, but they don't know the practicality of it, so kind of educating the difference of a barefoot, a trainer, a runner, and being a guy that wears Vans 90% of the time, why they're different than me working out in a pair of Vans.
Overall, experience, rate it today 1 out of 5 in the sense of how seamless it was to come try on a pair of shoes, get a workout in, and then, go about your day and decide if you want the shoe or not.
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. 4.5. It was pretty easy.
Nice. Well, Sean, thank you so much for coming out, bro. Always a pleasure getting to train together.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you coming out to see the store. Appreciate you coming out to support. Means the world, brother.